When my mother picked me up and expressed her heartfelt congratulations, she silently thought to herself, "Ah, it's that girl who stole my necklace at the mall last time. Surely, she must have some unspoken troubles. I must take extra care of her." Yet, unbeknownst to her, I too had been reborn. This time, there was another soul, mine, who could hear her innermost thoughts. 1. Greetings, I am Guinan. Sister, welcome home. The girl before me possessed a charmingly delicate visage, clad in the latest fashionable light yellow Chanel-inspired ensemble, her round, droopy eyes exuding an innocent yet lively aura. Yet, her inner thoughts belied such a sweet exterior. "Ah, sister, you seem so familiar. Have we met somewhere before?" "I remember now. We encountered each other last time at Wanda. She even pilfered my mother's necklace. Surely, her adoptive parents must treat her poorly. I must make amends for her, it is my duty to do so." I noticed my mother's excited expression falter, her fingers gripping her designer handbag turning pale. I recognized that this unmistakably belonged to Guinan, yet she did not utter a word. It seemed I had stumbled upon a secret. Thus, it became clear why. Despite my innocence, my entire family believed I sought to harm Guinan. My allergic aversion to mangoes, in my mother's eyes, was an act of exclusion against Guinan for refusing her small cake. My reluctance to don Guinan's hand-me-downs rendered me hypocritical in my brother's view, as if my visits to the Gu household were solely to covet their wealth. Spending my part-time earnings on school uniforms painted me as heartless in my father's perspective, devoid of the warmth that Guinan seemingly possessed. An involuntary chuckle bubbled within me, though I could not express it. My adoptive parents favored males, leading to a habitual bout of acute gastroenteritis, rendering my body incapable of absorbing the nutrients from a single egg. Residing in a stairwell and wearing my brother's discarded clothing, my adoptive mother had even nearly forced me to drop out of school to marry her dim-witted nephew. If Guinan were to exist in my environment, would she be able to laugh? A smile had become a luxury for me. And why? Merely stating my name. I proceeded directly to the living room to drop off my backpack. In my previous life, my entire family occupied the second floor, while my room was adjacent to the servants' quarters on the ground floor. This time, I had no intention of subjecting myself to injustice. Having once clung to the faint semblance of maternal love, I would not repeat that folly. Just as I departed, Gu Jinghuai could no longer contain his ire, exclaiming, "What kind of attitude is that? Did Anan not greet her? Such an uncouth wild girl." Gu mother frowned. "This child appears quite unmanageable. I fear she may harbor resentment toward Arnan." "Dear, the one who stole my necklace in the mall was indeed her. Her adoptive parents seem rather honest and simple-minded. How could they raise such a child? Someone like her is inherently wicked, destined to remain distant from us." Gu Ting nodded in agreement. "Anan appears much more like our own child." In her eyes, Guinan gleamed with joy, yet her inner voice lamented, "Although sister does not wish to greet me, I owe her this. I have usurped her life, it is only natural for her to despise me. I simply adore mom and dad, and I hope sister will not cast me away." Gu mother and Gu father exchanged glances. "Although sister has arrived, it will not diminish the love mom and dad have for you. You need not feel guilty for having taken anyone's life. This is not your fault. This is your home, and no one can expel you." Guinan nodded, albeit in an oblivious manner. I observed the touching scene with a cold detachment, feeling no stirrings within my heart. "Which room will I reside in?" My indifferent tone pierced the tender atmosphere, leaving Gu mother's affection frozen on her face, while Gu Jinghuai's dissatisfaction became evident. "The rooms on the second floor are unkempt. For now, you may stay on the first floor." He tilted his head, considering it a charitable act. I retorted with a sardonic smile, "Your rooms are all on the second floor, yet you expect me to reside in the servants' quarters? If your intention in bringing me back is merely to showcase your hypocritical benevolence or to acquire a free maid, then there is no need. I manage quite well alone at the Yin family, and I harbor no inclination to serve others." Gu mother seethed. "What do you mean by that?" "Naturally. A child of the Gu family cannot be raised in another household. If you merely desire a room on the second floor, you could have stated so plainly instead of putting on such a petty display." In her heart, Guinan thought, "It is all my fault. Sister must think I have seized her room. It is all right. I am willing to move out as long as sister does not harbor resentment toward mom and dad." She lowered her head, appearing deeply hurt, her eyes glistening as if she might weep at any moment, causing the entire Gu family to feel a pang of sympathy. I stood as an outsider, coldly observing their familial display of affection. My belongings amounted to little more than a small backpack containing a set of school uniforms, a comb, toothpaste, soap, and a worn-out wallet. Clearly, the Goof family paid me little mind, having not even prepared sleepwear for me. The guest room on the second floor was indeed far superior to the servants' quarters on the first. No wonder in my previous life, the household staff disregarded me. Piling all the chores upon my shoulders, they had evidently recognized from the outset that I was never considered family, while I naively reveled in happiness. Gazing at the tidy room, I buried myself beneath the covers and inhaled deeply. When dinner time arrived, I was the last to descend. "Sister," Guanin called out timidly. I ignored her and took my seat. Gu Jinghuai, in a fit of anger, slammed his chopsticks down and greeted you. "Why do you wear such a sour expression?" Gu Ting shot a warning look at Gu Jinghuai. "Enough, let us eat." Guanin presented the small cake before me. "Sister, this is my favorite cake. Knowing you were returning, I spent 3 hours making it. Do try it." Her eyes sparkled with anticipation as her heart whispered, "Although sister detests me, I truly admire her. I even cut my hand while making this cake. Surely sister will like it?" Gu Jinghuai involuntarily glanced at her pristine wrist, where he indeed spotted a bandage, filling him with both anger and concern. "You must accept it. This is Anan's heartfelt offering." I silently continued to consume the vegetables before me. Gu Jinghuai, witnessing the hurt in Guanin's eyes, lost his temper and shoved me. "Do you truly despise Anan this much?" The unexpected shove sent me crashing to the floor. A flicker of guilt crossed Gu Jinghuai's eyes, as if he had not anticipated my fragility. I nonchalantly rose to my feet. "Apologies, I am allergic to mangoes." Gu Mother lifted her gaze toward me with a complex expression, unable to articulate her feelings. She too was allergic to mangoes, yet Gu Jinghuai and Guanin relished them. Upon closer inspection, though my complexion was sallow and my cheekbones protruded due to my emaciated frame, my features bore a striking resemblance to her youthful visage. Gu Mother frowned. "Why do you only consume vegetables? You should eat more meat." She pretended to pick up a piece of braised pork, while Guanin's triumphant expression momentarily faltered. Gu Jinghuai scoffed. "What are you pretending for? Are you trying to feign pity to elicit sympathy from everyone?" Though his voice was low, I could hear his words clearly from my adjacent seat. "I cannot eat braised pork." "No way." Gu Jinghuai exaggeratedly widened his mouth. "You are not about to claim you are allergic to pork as well, are you? I see you harbor resentment for how well we treat Anan." I set down my chopsticks, meeting his gaze with deliberate clarity. "The doctor informed me that my stomach has been in a state of hunger for an extended period, rendering me incapable of absorbing even the nutrients from a single egg. Thus, I can only consume vegetables." I had not anticipated the astonishing impact of my words. As I resumed eating with fervor, "My utmost priority is to restore my health. I am acutely aware that should I fail to improve, the bullying I would endure upon transferring to the prestigious academy would be relentless, leaving me utterly defenseless." The Goof family members at the dining table fell into a profound silence, their throats constricted. Gu Jinghuai opened his mouth but could not continue. He had initially intended to remark that the family treated me well, yet the thought of me being easily toppled with a mere touch darkened his gaze. Guanin felt a surge of anxiety within. "It's all my fault. If it weren't for me, my sister wouldn't be suffering so severely. Nor would she resort to stealing. Perhaps Mom and Dad would heed my sister's pleas and expel me, only then would she find happiness. I am the superfluous one in this household." The expressions of Gu Father and Gu Mother twisted in discontent, their earlier guilt dissipating. My presence had sapped the appetite of everyone at the table, while I alone savored my meal with delight. "I am full," I declared. Gu Jinghuai observed that I had barely made a dent in my bowl. Even Guanin had eaten more than I had. In truth, I had consumed a substantial amount, even taking a few extra bites due to the Gu family's sorrowful demeanor. Any more, and I would surely be unwell. My stomach, long accustomed to hunger, needed gentle nurturing. A fact I fully understood, albeit at the expense of the delicious fare before me. Gu Ting furrowed his brow, stating, "I have arranged for your school transfer. You will accompany Anan to class tomorrow." My steps did not waver. Once I departed, the Gu family summoned their servants to clear the table, and Gu Ting proceeded to make a phone call. "Please arrange for a nutritionist for the young lady, and have all her medical reports from these past years sent to me." The next day, upon seeing my worn clothing, Gu Jinghuai frowned. "Is this what you intend to wear?" This card is your monthly allowance from Dad, 100,000 yuan. You should discard those rags. Guinan gently interjected, sister. I have many unworn clothes. If you don't mind, you may have them. In her heart, she thought, many of these garments are ones I adore. I am willing to part with them for my sister, though I wonder if she will find them repugnant. I cast her a dispassionate glance, no need. You're too plump for me to wear them. Guinan's eyes reddened with grievance, and Gu Jinghui sought to comfort her, but after a lengthy pause, he managed to utter, You are indeed heavier than her, but her condition is quite unhealthy. Guinan trembled with indignation, finally managing to say, Thank you, brother. Gu Jinghui smiled foolishly, entirely oblivious to Guinan's sullen expression. As I entered the car, Guinan feigned silence, hoping to witness my embarrassment. However, I calmly located the door handle and opened it. Surprise flickered in her eyes. The journey was uneventful, and upon passing a shopping mall, I alighted to purchase a new outfit, only to return and find the Gu family's vehicle had already departed. Frowning, I heard my newly acquired phone ring. Gu Jinghui apologized. I'm sorry, and didn't finish her homework, so we had to leave first. It was intentional. She had deliberately waited until nearly class time to depart, seeking to ensure I would be late on my first day at school. This had happened before, on the first day of school in my previous life. They had driven me to a secluded alley under the pretense of searching for a lost necklace, only to abandon me when I got out to assist. I had encountered thugs in that alley, and my clothes were torn to shreds. Unfamiliar with the area and lacking a phone, I had walked 10 kilometers to reach the school, forever haunted by the mocking gazes of my classmates and the reproachful stares of my teachers. I distinctly remembered asking Gu Jinghui why he had not waited for me, to which he had impatiently replied, Inan is unwell. With the school so far away, it was astounding that they had left without a word, neglecting even to send the family's driver to fetch me. Shaking off those memories, I opened my phone and summoned a ride. Guinan sat shyly in her seat, engaged in conversation with her classmates about the latest seasonal fashion. My father commissioned a custom gown for my 18th birthday, she boasted. Inan, your father dotes on you so much. That dress must cost over 30 million, right? A glimmer of pride sparkled in her eyes as she replied, It's nothing much. Dad says it's not a big deal. Although everyone present was from affluent families, the Gu family ranked among the elite, and each girl vied to curry favor with Guinan. Only one girl scoffed. I heard today's transfer student is related to your family. Could she be your father's illegitimate daughter? Guinan's smile froze, her brow furrowing as she retorted. Classmate Zhou Qingqing, it is inappropriate to speak of others in such a manner. I hope you can view Gu Hui in a fair light. A shared glance among the others hinted at their contemplation. Am I late? I entered the room, met with a range of disdainful looks. I found an empty seat and sat down. Guinan seemed surprised that I had not been tardy. The next 2 classes passed uneventfully, but during the break, I headed to the restroom, where a group of girls cornered me. Unfazed, I glanced at my phone. What do you wish to do? Well, a bastard has the audacity to flaunt herself in front of the proper ones these days, the ringleader, sporting pink hair, jeered. I recognized her as Guinan's henchwoman, who had tormented me the most in my previous life. Though my current state was still fragile, I possessed a fierce resolve that belied my appearance. She gripped my chin, forcing my mouth open, aiming to spit into it. Yet, I retaliated with a swift slap, sending her face askew, her eyes widening in disbelief. Wretched girl, she hissed, seething as she yanked my hair. I refused to acquiesce. I was fully aware of her tactics and anticipated her next moves. Every action she took could be countered. As her desperation grew, her breath quickened. Today, I must teach you a lesson, she declared, a glint of malice flashing in her eyes as she produced a live rat from her pocket. Though you may be dark and thin, upon closer inspection, your features are not without merit, such a vixenish allure. In my past life, I had been restrained by many hands, and when she released the famished rat, it swiftly scurried up my pant leg, gnawing at my thigh and leaving a ghastly scar. I struggled fiercely. Had class not been starting, they would have succeeded in their torment. I crushed the rat beneath my foot, suppressing the rising memories, and fixed my gaze on the pink-haired girl. Such a filthy mouth. Have you been eating excrement? I hear rats consume waste as well. Before she could question my meaning, I seized the rat from her hand, eliciting a shrill cry from the creature. Startled, she recoiled as I forced it into her mouth, restraining her movements. The other girls, having never witnessed such a spectacle, hesitated to approach. The pink-haired girl's face twisted in terror as she attempted to push me away, but I was surprisingly strong. Tears and snot streamed down her face as she whimpered for mercy. Hearing the call to class, I smirked. "Consider yourself fortunate." As I released my grip, she gasped, blood spurting forth, splattering the floor. I continued on my way, preparing to relish the aftermath. The girls instinctively parted, their eyes trembling in fear, desperate not to attract my attention. At the end of the second class, Gu Jinghui stormed over, and "Why, come with me." I remained impassive, feigning ignorance of his command. He violently kicked over my desk, and upon seeing the trash in my desk pocket, including used sanitary napkins, Gu Jinghui's movements froze. "Who the hell did this?" he exclaimed, scanning the classroom, but no one dared to respond. His neck muscles bulged as he furiously pressed on. "Who dares to bully my sister?" The class stared in shock, their eyes wide. "Isn't she your father's illegitimate daughter?" "She is my biological sister." Guanin's face turned a shade more vibrant than a painter's palette. She had always subtly hinted to the class that I was an embarrassing illegitimate child, yet here I was, exposed by Gu Jinghui on the very first day. "Aren't you supposed to be tough? How come you let yourself be bullied?" Gu Jinghui gazed at me intently, and I chuckled lightly. "I thought this was your doing." "Am I crazy? Why would I find someone to bully my sister?" Gu Jinghui raked his hair in agitation. Guanin stepped forward, looking wronged. "Brother, you scared me." "I'm sorry." He tousled Guanin's hair and glanced at me. "Let's talk outside." Guanin whispered, "It's all my fault." If the classmates hadn't seen Hui bullying me, they wouldn't have stepped in to teach him a lesson. If only I could disappear. My brother only likes Hui, and I only bring him trouble. Gu Jinghui held his breath, protectively shielding Guanin behind him. I almost laughed at his ridiculous actions. In this public space, he was worried about me bullying Guanin. He might as well tie her to his belt. Gu Jinghui swept his sharp gaze across the class. "Hurry up and clean this mess. If it's not done in 3 minutes, I will use your heads as soccer balls and stuff them in desks to clean them." I sat on my deskmate's chair, watching the noble scions humiliatingly clean up my trash, feeling quite pleased. Let's swap seats." Even though it was cleaned, I had no desire to sit there. Gu Jinghui wore an expression that suggested he wanted to say something but dared not, and when the class bell rang, he solemnly stated, "An is my sister. Don't bully her." After he left, the classroom erupted. "And why, aren't you an illegitimate child? How did you become Gu Jinghui's real sister?" I found it amusing. "Who told you I was an illegitimate child?" The person cast a glance at Guanin, who could only seethe in silence. Guanin leaned on my desk, crying, "I never said that, it was a misunderstanding." The whole class gathered around to comfort her, but the seeds of doubt had already been sown. At the end of the month, the school would conduct a diagnostic exam. At the dining table, Guanin looked at me with worry. "Sister, how about I help you review?" Recalling how in my past life she had drawn review notes for me, confidently claiming they would be on the test, only for none of the questions to match, while she ended up first in the grade, and I, distracted by her, had seen my grades plummet to the bottom. I could have easily topped the class with my abilities. I smiled. "No need, your help would only waste my time." Guanin, feeling wronged, replied, "Fine." In her heart, she thought, "I genuinely want her to improve and be worthy of the Gu family. If my sister's foundation is so poor and she doesn't study, isn't it humiliating for our parents to see her score 200 on the college entrance exam? Why does she refuse my good intentions?" Gu mother scoffed. "And why, do you understand? Your sister is doing this for your own good. If you don't study, what do you plan to do? Become a thief on the street? A dog has more ambition than you. Then why don't you raise a few more dogs to take care of you in your old age?" I frowned, puzzled as to why Gu mother kept bringing this up when I had no memory of it. That day she had indeed appeared at the mall, but it was merely to hand out flyers. She had nearly fallen as she passed by me, and I had helped her. There must be some misunderstanding, and I noted this down in my mind. Gu Ting interjected, "Let us all keep quiet." "I'm full." I stood up. Gu Jinghui snorted. "Who are you showing your displeasure to?" In the moment we brushed past each other, I accidentally dropped my plate of food all over him, staining his pristine shirt. "I'm sorry," I slipped. For the past few days, I had been focused on studying in my room. Guanin had tried to stir up trouble several times, but was subtly thwarted. It wasn't until her coming-of-age ceremony that she finally found an opportunity to strike. At the ceremony, Guanin stood elegantly in a high-end dress in front of Gu father and Gu mother, while Gu Jinghuai graciously raised a toast to the guests, making them appear like a true family. I quietly sat to the side, not seeking to overshadow Guanin. The surveillance footage has been sent to your phone. As I glanced at the message on my phone, a smile crept onto my face. Sister, why are you sitting here? Guanin exclaimed, delighted as she came closer. Today is my birthday. What gift are you giving me? I withdrew my arm from her grasp. I can't say just yet. Guanin nodded with a beaming smile. Secretly thinking, I heard from my foster mother that she dislikes me and hasn't prepared a gift, but as long as it's from my sister, I would cherish even a bouquet of flowers. Gu mother approached with a frown, and why, if you are jealous of Guanin, take it out on me. Why show her any displeasure? You didn't prepare a gift for an N's birthday? Is this how a sister behaves? I raised an eyebrow. Who said I didn't prepare a gift? Mom, I'm curious as to why I announced I would bring a mysterious gift. Yet you remain so certain I didn't bring anything? I mocked with a smile. Sometimes I truly feel you can hear Guanin's inner thoughts, whatever I do. It's wrong in your eyes. Gu mother was taken aback, while Guanin nervously laughed. How could that be? That's too absurd. I continued with a somber expression. No matter what I do, in your eyes, it's jealousy of Anin. Clearly, Anin never said anything. Could it be she deliberately spoke to you in her heart? Gu mother scrutinized Guanin with a probing gaze. Guanin looked at me. Her eyes filled with grievance. Sister, I know you don't like me, but I genuinely consider you family. When you didn't have a uniform, I gave you my clothes. When your grades were poor, I helped you study. I never expected you to think of me this way. She sobbed, looking utterly pitiful. Gu mother had also dismissed her doubts. However, my goal was to sow seeds of suspicion. I never anticipated that a single blow would bring Guanin down. If this could thwart her, then she had wasted all those years with the Gu family. I was just playing around. Why are you all so tense? Fu Yunting has arrived. Anin, go talk to him. Upon seeing Fu Yunting appear, the tense atmosphere shattered, and Gu mother let out a sigh of relief. While Guanin blushed and said, Mom. Fu Yunting was Guanin's fiancé, and their relationship was remarkably good, which was one reason the Gu family treated Guanin well. Following her gaze, I noticed Fu Yunting coldly surveying everyone, his eyes searching for someone. His exquisite features could easily catch anyone's attention even in a crowd. I found myself momentarily lost in thought. In my past life, Fu Yunting had been my only friend. I couldn't bear the thought of jumping from the rooftop. I wondered how he would react. I instinctively lowered my head. Yunting, I'm so glad you could attend my coming-of-age ceremony. Guanin mustered her courage and said, May I invite you to be my partner later? Fu Yunting walked past her without a word, causing her complexion to pale instantly. Gu's mother believed their relationship was quite strong, deceiving everyone around them. Yet only Guanin knew that Fu Yunting harbored no special feelings for her. Each invitation was merely a matter of courtesy, a brief coffee meeting before he departed. Why are you sitting here? As I was savoring a small cake, a shadow suddenly loomed over me. Confused, I looked up to find Fu Yunting regarding me disapprovingly. Huh? Isn't today your coming-of-age ceremony? Why are you just sitting here? I had nearly forgotten, for Guanin and I could be unobtrusively swapped due to our similar ages. Today was not only Guanin's birthday but also mine. Gu's mother, sensing something amiss, approached just in time to hear this exchange, her expression a mix of complexity. Do you know me? I asked with a hint of amusement. Yes, Fu Yunting replied, his expression remaining composed. You ranked first in this exam, while I came in second. You're quite impressive. May I befriend you? The results are out? Gu's mother exclaimed in surprise, yet Guanin had mentioned they would be released tomorrow. Guanin's fingers turned white from clenching, her smile frozen on her face. She had prepared thoroughly for this exam, eager to shine at her coming-of-age ceremony. But upon receiving her results, she found herself only 5th in the class, with me claiming the top spot. She kept this revelation hidden, fearing that if the Gu family learned of my excellent performance, their attention would shift to me. Guanin was perpetually anxious, dreading that I might disclose this information. Yet it was Fu Yunting who unwittingly brought it to light. Mrs. Fu observed her son defending a young girl for the first time, glanced at me, and suddenly laughed. If I am not mistaken, it should be the engagement between Anhuai and Yunting. Fu Yunting instinctively looked at me, and I returned his gaze with a polite smile. Mrs. Fu understood the implications of his visit and added with a grin, "These days, free love is all the rage. Perhaps we should forego this arranged engagement and allow the two children to pursue their own relationship? As compensation, we shall grant Anhui 10% of the shares." Hearing the first part of her statement, Guanin's face turned ashen. Upon hearing the latter, her heart sank completely. "Why is it given to Anhui?" Gu's mother frowned. "Of course, it is meant for Anhui. When the old man made the arrangement, it was made clear that your daughter would marry our son. Is Anhui not the child you bore? Have you truly been mistaken all this time and plan to usurp what rightfully belongs to her?" She shot a sharp look at Guanin, while Gu's mother remained conflicted. Mrs. Fu chuckled heartily. "Oh, I knew you would be concerned for your child, otherwise. Would you truly care for a foster daughter?" Gu's mother forced a smile and under Mrs. Fu's jesting. The issue of the engagement was brushed aside as she drafted a share transfer document in front of everyone. After the Gu family departed, Mrs. Fu raised her eyebrows at Fu Yanting. "What do you think? Isn't your mother impressive?" The unexpected turn of the engagement was something Guanin had not anticipated. Gu's mother looked at her in silence, her heart aching. Guanin gazed at her mother with a sense of grievance. "Mom, I understand now. I should not covet what does not belong to me." Her inner thoughts echoed. "I have taken what rightfully belongs to my sister. Everyone favors me and neglects her. I cannot blame her for making me feel humiliated in front of Mrs. Fu. If only I could disappear." Gu's mother felt a sense of déjà vu. As it often seemed to be this way, Guanin wore a facade of indifference, yet her heart was filled with unspoken grievances. Her eyes became resolute. "It's all right. I shall have your father grant you 10% of the shares as well. You are our daughter, and we will not let you feel wronged." Guanin embraced her tightly. "Thank you, Mom. I always knew you were the best." Yet in the corner, unseen, Guanin's gaze darkened. In a shadowy corner, a middle-aged woman in her 50s stealthily entered the villa. Guanin had arranged to meet her in a location beyond the reach of surveillance, and upon encountering her, she wasted no time. "Where's the medicine I asked you to bring? You can't even call me Mom after all these years? If it weren't for me, you wouldn't have enjoyed the lavish lifestyle for 18 years. Do you think you've transformed from a common chick to a phoenix?" She was Guanin's biological mother, as well as my foster mother, and her words dripped with bitterness, causing Guanin to frown. From a young age, Guanin had been aware that she was not the biological child of the Gu family. She had lived in constant fear of the real daughter returning to threaten my position. The day after she discovered her true origins, Guanin realized that the Gu family could hear my innermost thoughts. With this advantage, she endeavored to win the favor of everyone in the Gu family. "Did I not instruct you to keep a close watch on that little vixen? How did she manage to slip away? If the Gu family discovers what we've done, you can forget about the 30,000 a month." She was equally infuriated. "That little vixen is cleverer than she appears. I hope she hasn't caused you any trouble." Their entire family's livelihood depended on Guanin. Should the Gu family cast her out, they would revert to their previous hardships. "By the way, could you lend me $1 million? Your brother got into a fight at school and nearly caused a fatality. They say if we don't pay $1 million, they'll sue him. He is the lifeblood of our family, and you mustn't turn your back on him. You ask for $1 million as if it were nothing. Do you think money grows on trees?" The allowance the Gu family provided her was only 30,000 a month. Guanin, feeling exasperated, replied, "I will transfer it to your account tomorrow." Once again, Guanin loathed the fact that she was not the biological child of the Gu family. Having secured her agreement, her foster mother finally handed over the medicine. Guanin returned to the banquet hall and approached me, saying, "I heard today is also my sister's birthday. I bought you a gift and placed it in your room. You don't mind, do you?" I shook my head. "That's great," she said, casually offering me a glass of wine. I thought my sister might be jealous of me, but I realized now that I was being childish. We will always be family. Accepting the glass from her, I refrained from drinking. Guanin's inner thoughts reflected, indeed, my sister still refuses to accept me, fearing I have usurped her place. Seeing Guanin so distressed, Gu's mother couldn't help but say, "Anin has already lowered herself to apologize. What more do you want?" I smirked mockingly, took a hearty gulp from the glass Guanin had offered me, and soon, my consciousness began to blur. "Wonderful," she exclaimed inwardly, unable to contain her excitement. Guanin happily led me to a room to rest. Gu's mother felt her heart race. What had she just heard Anin thinking? Surely, everything was fine? Anin was a good girl. I gently laid Guinan on the bed and closed the door, eagerly anticipating what would unfold next. However, I did not expect her to harbor such intentions. A scream echoed from upstairs, and Gu's mother anxiously searched for my whereabouts amid the crowd. Look. She knew quite well what Guinan was attempting to do. She simply refused to acknowledge that her daughter, whom she had doted on for years, had a heart as dark as this. Spotting me calmly standing within the crowd, she breathed a sigh of relief, but then, as if struck by a thought, hurried upstairs. Everyone witnessed the scene of Guinan throwing herself at Gu Jinghui. The scream had escaped from Gu Jinghui's lips, a mix of shame and anger evident on his face. Everyone, look away. Guinan was already in a state of delirium. Madame Gu poured a basin of cold water over Guinan's feet. After much effort, all the guests had been driven away, leaving the Gu family utterly humiliated by the banquet. Guinan regained her composure. It was my sister who handed me the water. All I wanted was to be by my parents' side. Why must she press me so? Upon hearing her thoughts, Madame Gu bellowed, enough. Her faith in Guinan had waned. More than the adopted daughter, she was preoccupied with the future of the heir, Gu Jinghui. Fueled by indignation, Madame Gu was beside herself. Gu Ting rushed upstairs, inquiring, "What happened? Why is there a recording downstairs showing Annan stealing your necklace?" I arrived fashionably late. This is the birthday gift I prepared for my sister. Not only did it include the video of that day when Guinan pilfered Madame Gu's necklace, but it also captured her immediate reaction upon recognizing my identity. I followed the clues and discovered Guinan had been in contact with the Yin family since childhood. Their years of correspondence and remittance slips were all compiled into a video. This included footage of them plotting to drug me. That glass of water had been prearranged with the waiter, and by the time it was served to them, it had already been switched. The banquet caused an immense uproar, revealing that the Gu family's adopted daughter was a treacherous ingrate. Guinan wept, still clinging to her thoughts. I was so afraid of losing my family. My parents adore their daughter. I feared disappointing them. Madame Gu, in a fit of rage, slapped her across the face. Stop your delusions. If it weren't for your insinuations that Hui is a thief and a scoundrel, how could I have treated her poorly? She is my flesh and blood, a piece of my heart. Her hands trembled with fury. Annan, can you ever forgive me? I belatedly realized that when she called Annan, she was referring to me. I had almost forgotten that my name also contained An, as everyone used to call me that long ago. I remained silent, which was answer enough. I observed the Gu family's despondent expressions, yet they showed no reaction. After some time, the Gu family brought Guinan into court. And as they turned to offer compensation to me, I had already departed northward with my acceptance letter from Tsinghua University. It seemed I could never shake off that lingering tale. How long will you follow me? Fu Yunting asked, parting his lips. Does jumping off a building hurt? He indeed possessed memories from a past life, and a thought struck me. Did you push Guinan down from the building before she went to prison? I merely hinted to the Gu family, he replied. Fu Yunting's eyes shimmered. In my past life, I had jumped from the 18th floor, and in this life, Guinan was pushed from the 36th floor. The pain he intended for me was now being repaid to Guinan in double measure. I hesitated to voice my thoughts. I want to focus on my studies. Very well, he replied. Fu Yunting mused that while I sought to study diligently, he yearned for me. He had been waiting for Hui. The bitterness of his past life had culminated in my fulfillment in this one. The end of the tale. Thank you for listening. And until we meet again in the next story.